going on, everybody? Mike McFarland here, the Lake Fork Fishing Guide. Friday. It's about mid-August, and it's what I call the dog days of summer. It's always this way in fishing. It got a nickname, the dog days of summer, for a reason. It's generally the peak heat of our summer temperatures. It's the peak excessive heat time, and the water temperatures reach their highest temperatures. It doesn't matter if you are up high in the country in the northern parts trout fishing or down south, bass fishing. Everything is at its heat peak index. So the dog days of summer, nicknamed accordingly. Usually they can be very, very slow fishing. So let's give you a little Lake Fork report, a little public rundown for the end of this week. Then I'm going to kind of hit on this again. I put up a lesson. If you didn't see it, it's a Thermocline lesson and a turnover lesson. A Thermocline lesson with an explanation of what a turnover is. And we're going to talk about this just briefly because I want you to go watch that video. It's about 30 minutes long, but it's an awesome, awesome lesson. It's really, really the most clear Thermocline lesson that I think I've ever delivered. It makes complete sense of it. I did tons of homework. I researched, I Google researched, I read tons of scientific and biological information about it before I delivered it to you. It's thorough, and it really hits home, and it really relates to Lake Fork. But let's talk about the fishing on Lake Fork. It's pretty interesting. I gave you a Tuesday report, and we were at 39568. We had a couple days of rain. It was short and sweet, but it came down hard. And it came down hard enough to kind of bring the lake up 1/10 of an inch or so. But in essence, it's just kind of stabilized. So the last 2 or 3 days, it wasn't enough water to really change lake levels. It was enough to hold what we use and the evaporation and all those things that we talked about before in the past. The rate of flow is a pipe that's open below the dam to let a certain amount of water out. So we've kind of just stabilized and sat the last 4 days. Tuesday we were 39568. Today we're 39568. The water clarity really didn't change. We're getting that summer brown in some areas. We definitely have high water temperatures, 88 to 93. And we definitely have a thermocline in play in the lake. So what I'm going to briefly touch on this thermocline here is you need to learn how to use it. Okay. 18 to 20 feet, 18 to 22 is where you're going to see most of the thermocline in Lake Fork. You really want to find that area where it's stratified. Okay. If you see an area where the haze is 3, 4, 5 feet worth, that's not stratified. Okay. That's a building thermocline. You want to see it where that haze creates a distinctive line. And you'll notice that the bait and the fish will sit literally right above it and within it, not below it. Okay. So watch the lesson that really breaks all that down. But here's the thing. There's 2 ways to fish this right now. There's 3 ways to fish the lake. The bass will use this thermocline for comfort. It's good oxygen, and it's the coolest temperatures available to them. No oxygen below, hot, thin oxygen above, best temperatures, best oxygen right within the thermocline. Okay, so they don't necessarily get food all the time in the thermocline. Okay, we're going to call this the bedroom. So they're going to be comfort zone there. So midday, middle of the day, afternoon, etc. They're going to be in that realm. But first thing in the morning, okay, they potentially can be hunting for food. They're going to go hunting shallow right now. They're going to be hunting in less than 6 feet of water. They're going to be hunting crawfish. They're going to be hunting brim, carp minnows. Bass are predator. They eat a little bit of anything. So these big bass on Lake Fork are going shallow. So if you start early in the morning, start on bridge corners, start on bridge embankments, start on shallow reefs. And basically, I mean, believe it or not, top water can catch them right now. A walking top water like a Berkeley El Chapo, Berkeley Jaywalker, or buzzing bait like the Berkeley El Chapo. Those are really, really good baits right now. The El Chapo is basically a whopper plopper. Okay. But if you're not there at the crack of dawn, that first 30 minutes to an hour, hour and a half, you need to focus on this thermocline. When you fish the thermocline, the couple other places that you would fish would be humps that reach the thermocline. So if the thermocline's stratified in 18 to 22 feet of water, you want to fish a hump that's within that thermocline. The fish can use that hump as a little bit of structure to relate to. They're going to suspend in open water in that. It's very difficult to catch those fish. The other one is, this here is a diagram of a tree, a big oak tree. Again, if you watch the lesson, it'll make real sense because I really discuss it. But this is an oak tree in, say, 45, 50 feet of water. And the tops of the oak tree go through that stratified 18 to 22 foot. So you got 50 foot of water, let's say, and a tall oak tree, big, huge oak tree out there. And the tops of those oak tree happen to have that thermocline, stratified thermocline right through it. The bass can actually now have cover, kind of like using brush piles. So again, those are the places you're going to be looking. Big worms, jigs, Carolina rigs, things like that on those spots. Weightless baits, weightless Cincos, weightless impact shads. Those types of baits are difficult and timely to get down to the tops of those trees, but a big old weightless mag fluke or a big old weightless impact 7-inch shad drop down into the tops of those trees. First, you got to find those trees. Can be huge. Okay, so there's the second way. You're going to fish shallow with top waters. You're going to fish the thermocline itself between humps and using that 18 to 22 foot level to find structure that relates to it, and or trees that they have cover in, or even a brush pile. If you can find the right point, the main lake point that dumped in, and at the 18 to 22 foot it had brush piles, there's going to be fish in it. Okay. The key is to find those kinds of locations. Also, this time of year, they love to eat big. So I tend to go to the big old worm. I mean, I'll literally go to a 12, 14-inch worm. They don't have a lot of energy to chase things. So they want one strike, big reward. They are hungry. Water's high temperature, so metabolisms are up. They need the food because the metabolism's up. So don't be afraid to fish big. Fish a big top water, fish a big worm, fish a big jig. But on the reverse side, I have found, just like in the winter, that when the fish get finicky in the cold of water, they'll take little stuff. They do it for two reasons. In the winter time, they'll take little stuff because their digestive rate's so slow. Small stuff digests faster than a big bulky brim in their stomach. So small baits in the middle of January, February get bit more often by big fish than big baits. But in the summertime, again, I just said they want the big food. So early morning, crack of dawn, when they're hunting, they're going to want big, okay? But when they're sitting out here sometimes in some of this thermocline and they're resting, they're more prone sometimes to eat smaller baits. So you may try downsizing some things. A finesse jig, a 5-inch impact shad, or a smaller fluke, or a baby brush hog instead of a full brush hog. And the reason being is they don't got a lot of energy at that point, but they're still hungry, okay? And maybe they've got a full stomach. Maybe they gorged in the morning. Maybe they found a big school of shad and they gorged in the morning, and now their belly's full. And they're sitting out here in this thermocline in the brush piles, and you're having a hard time getting them to bite the big worm. They won't eat the big jig. Try downsizing, okay? That can help you get bit too. So that's kind of the gist of what I want to talk about. Again, I want to invite you to go. Please look for the lessons. It's not under rundowns. It's on my YouTube page. It should be in the lessons file. And it's a thermocline lesson. Really opens your eyes up to what that thermocline does, how it's created, how important it is to fishing. And then again, we have the turnover coming very soon. When September gets here, everything's going to change real fast, real fast. The first cold front hits, the nighttime air cools, and the shallow water changes. Cool water sinks. Okay, ice cubes, they get heavy. Okay, think about that. So as the water gets cool at the surface, it sinks through. It ends up blending, breaking thermoclines. We have a turnover, and things change really, really fast on Lake Fork. So be prepared for that in the next 3, 4, 6 weeks max. Okay, 2 more weeks, 3 more weeks of August. By mid-September, we usually have things start changing huge, okay? I know in September I catch a lot of fish suspending in trees in this thermocline. Mid-September for the big bass splash, this is one of the best ways. If you can go find them trees where those fish are suspending at that level, you can crush them. You can catch some really big fish and win the big bass splash doing that. But again, we're going to have a turnover happen. The other thing that's already happening, which I think is very unique, and I don't want to confuse anybody. I don't want to misconstrue when I say this, but the days are already shortening, okay? July 19th is the summer solstice. That's the longest day of the year. The very next day, we begin to shorten. Well, we're already a month into shortening. If you notice, it was getting light at, 6:23, 6:15, 6 somewhere in there. Now it's getting light at 6:30, 6:35. The days are now shortening, okay? In essence, this is the part that I don't want to misconstrue anybody. It's not fall, and by no means do we call it fall, but it's fall. The days are shortening, and that's the definition of fall. By December 19th, December 20th, I believe, 19th is the winter solstice, which is the shortest day of the year. So for the next 5 months, we just keep getting shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter, okay? September, October, November, December, 4 months. We are already in the fall era. In fact, tree leaves are falling like crazy already. It's not fall. Again, I want to say it one more time. Don't be misconstrued. You don't have to go post and say I'm crazy and it's still summer, Mike. I know it's summer. It's the middle of summer. Meteorologists say that, it's summer. But I think it's real unique that the days are falling. That's what fall is about. Days are growing in spring, stabilized in midsummer, and shortening. And realistically, our days grow for about 6 months of the year and shorten for the other 6, I believe. That I could be wrong on. But we are falling. The days are falling out. The amount of light is falling, retracting. That also changes the fishing. Okay, so I haven't heard a whole lot of, still on my vacation kind of, boat still at Skeeter, should be coming back next week. I haven't heard a lot this week. I know Jay Bonner, my good friend Jay Bonner, has caught some really good fish this week. The shallow bite, early morning only. Shallow reefs with big worms. And the plum apple and just the same plum slick bait worm. The big 10-inch slick ribbon tail has been catching them for him. I know that a lot of guys aren't catching a lot of fish, but they're catching the right fish, catching some good fish. And it's kind of been a grind. I am going to be giving you some really good information here in the members only channel on colors, also a prospective way to catch these fish in these trees. I'm going to talk about some impact, Mark Pack stuff, how he did it, the techniques, what he did, the colors that he liked to use, and give real good detail. I'm also going to give the best parts of the lake to find these kinds of trees in. I'm going to use the rule of 3, but I'm also going to just straight out use some names of some creeks and coves where you can find these trees to be fishing over the next 4, 5, 6 weeks. So if you are interested in that, I'm asking you go over to the members only channel, hit the join button. It's easiest to do with your desktop or laptop, but hit the subscribe button, join my members only channel. That's $4.99. It's the best $4.99 you can use or you can spend if you're using Lake Fork on a regular basis. It really means something to you. If you're coming here for just 1 month, subscribe, and at the end of the month, unsubscribe. But it's really, really, really works. I have a very, very good substantial subscriber base, excess of 200 people, and everybody that's using it loves it. The comments are absolutely flabbergasting to me. It warms my heart at how well it's working. So again, that's an invite. Come check out the members only. Appreciate you guys watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this. Go watch the Thermocline lesson. Comment below. Hey, if you want a lesson or you want to learn something, I do share with the public. I want to teach you public. I want the public subscription to grow as well as the members only. So make a comment below about something you just might want to learn. It may be spooling up a reel. How do I spool up a reel? How do I tie some knots? Anything in that realm. If you have any questions or something you'd like me to talk or teach about, put that in the comments below. Other than that, I wish you guys all great fishing and good luck. If you come to Fort, be safe. She's 7.3 feet low. I'm Mike McFarland, the Lake Fork Fishing Guide.